first teller of the night, Corr de Joch. Keep it going, keep it going. Hey, wow, this is a long story, and I only got like 5 minutes, so I better not try to warm y'all up first. Okay, so do y'all remember like the 90s and like the end of the 80s? Okay, so it was summer vacation. I'm 15 years old. And I was supposed to get this job for the summer, and I went to this construction site. He's like, yeah, come back on Monday. We'd totally hook you up. Will you be a grunt, and we'll totally abuse you, and you'll get minimum wage, and it'll be awesome. I'm like, okay, I'll see you Monday morning. And then I get back home for the weekend, and I'm hanging out with my buddy, and my mother comes home, and so my buddy jumps out the window and takes off running because he's met my mom. And leaves me, and I'm a little high for a 15-year-old, and it's summer vacation, and me and my brother and my mother comes in and everything, and she's like being really positive and nice and complimenting us and stuff, and saying like not yelling at us for anything. Me and my brother are like, who is this, and what has she done with the real goblin? And then my mother's like, and I got you a job, and you're going to the interview right now. And I'm like, Friday night at 8? And she's like, yes, it's the only time he has. I'm like, but I already got a job. I'm going to be working at the construction site, and it's going to be awesome. She's like, you'll only get minimum wage for that. This is $10 an hour. And that's, this is 1991 maybe. So I'm like, okay, I guess I'll try it out. She's like, there's a carpenter, you're going to be a carpenter's experience, you're going to get real experience, it's worth it. So, okay, long story short, I fall for it. We go to this place, it's a dark parking lot, we go into the dark building. I don't realize that the door's locked behind me. I don't know if y'all heard of, back in the early 80s, there was Charter Northridge commercials all the time. They were like, oh, do you have a teenager? Do they wear dark clothing? Do they not enjoy family activities? Are they listening to weird music? Charter Northridge can help. Lock them in a cage. We'll fix them. And that was all the rage, right? But you had to have money to do that. I wasn't worried about it because we were broke as hell, food stamp family. And but somehow my mother's really resourceful, and she had to pull some strings and got me in on Medicare or Medicaid, one of those. I never can tell them apart. And So I go into this guy's office after going through a million doors that all locked behind me, and just dumber than hell, like, oh, I'm gonna get a job, $10 an hour. And I sit in this guy's office, and he starts talking, and my mother starts talking about and he's out of control, and I can't control him anymore, and he's a bad example to his brother, and he gets in violent fights at school, and I'm like, what are you talking about? And this guy's like, you sit down and let your mother speak. And I'm like, you don't look like no carpenter. and then he lets me know, it's like, so my mother's going off, and she's telling all these lies because she's a lunatic, and I'm like, she's a lunatic, and I don't know what's going on, and I'm out of here, and I try to leave, and the doors are locked, and he's like, actually, you're going to be staying here for some time. And I'm like, I'll cut you, man, fuck you, open the doors, open one of these doors. And there's like 7 doors, and I'm running around the office trying doors, and he's like, no, you're going to be staying here for some time. And I'm like, you can't hold me. And he's like, oh, I don't have to hold you. They're going to hold you. And these 2 guys come in, big Bruno dudes. And I'm like, oh, it looks like they could hold me. And I see he's got an open window. It's not a big window, but I'm not a big kid. And there's like a loblolly pine tree, good 12 feet out of that window. And I think if I take a running start, jump across the desk and through the screen, I catch that tree, and I don't know what a loblolly pine tree is. When I think of it, it looks loblolly to me. But so I'm going for it, and those boys, they're quicker than they look, and they snatch me. And they drag me away, and they take me around and they strip search me and make fun of me and stuff. And then we get to, they introduce me to my fellow inmates who are all behind a plate glass window that I assume is soundproof for some reason, because they're holding me, these two Brutuses, and I go, oh, can I feed them peanuts? Later I find out that they are all like, oh, that's the guy that's gonna feed us peanuts. That was a mistake. But like, so I failed my first escape, didn't get another escape attempt for weeks, but then there was this, I did get one other chance, because like, after I get taken everywhere by these two Brutuses, they put me in my cage room, and at one point, like, in the middle of the night, someone opens my door, and it's this tiny little woman. She's this tall. She's like nurse somebody sweet. And like, she's like, come with me. We're going to give you a checkup. She's got a big ring of keys on her belt. And they're all jingling, and she's that tall, and I'm like, and she takes me down to the bottom. There's no other people around or anything. There's a door to outside right there that surely one of those keys is going to open, but she's just so sweet and nice, and it just seems like a trap, and I couldn't do it. I was like looking at the roll of like duct tape. I'm like, maybe I could, but I couldn't do it. And it was just hypnotized by like how ridiculous this was. Like, do you usually take prisoners down here by yourself? I don't think it's a good idea, because I'm thinking, anyway, so, all right, so about out of time already. Then there was the like counselor that fell off the wagon and like let us climb over the fence and swim in the swimming pool, and I probably could have escaped, but she was like letting us, we were all like swimming to the bottom of the pool and making out, like the girl inmates and the boy inmates, because we weren't allowed to touch each other and stuff, and so we forgot to escape that time. And then and then at the end, there was, so in my room, this building is like this superstructure of steel that's like all just one big welded monster structure. And there's no way that it would come apart in these giant plate glass windows and everything in our room. But there was this monster, the ally that came to us because he got like this get out of going to prison deal with like, son, you better not screw this up, like deal. But we all could see that Rusty was gonna screw it up. And Rusty's like 300 pounds, and he had the room right next to mine with this guy Donald, who's a 14-year-old in a giant black man body, and him and Rusty would take turns. We could hear them running like elephants across the room and then just slamming their bodies against the plate glass window over and over again. And me and my roommate Johnny would run together and slam in response, and they would just laugh at the sound little tiny sound we made. But we had this plan that like if anybody could make that window pop out like a hatch being blown at 30,000 feet, it was this dude Rusty. And like if it happened, the plan was there was this like aluminum picnic table 3 stories down, and me and Johnny were gonna hook arms and jump and land right in the middle with all 4 feet on the picnic table and snap it clean in half, breaking our fall, and manage to stagger away and get somebody on the highway to pick us up and escape. But it never happened. And eventually, the Medicaid ran out, and I escaped. They said I was cured the day the Medicaid ran out. Thank you.